go on. Next
Okay.
slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next. Okay, let's direct see the angel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can see this is the first time angel. We can see the circ. This is the RC long
Okay.
occlusion, two segment
Yes.
occlusion case. And there is atrial septal branch from
Mm-hmm.
the circ to
Mm-hmm.
the distal RC next, but very tortuous, couldn't be
Yes.
used.
Mm-hmm.
Next, and we can see the distal fibrotic cap should be just at the distal
Bifurcation side.
bifurcation. So
Yes.
this is a relatively difficult
Mm-hmm.
case. We can see several septal branch, but not very good. Next. So this is the RCA, total occlusion with sad branch, very tortuous.
Mm-hmm.
Next, in the first try field case,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
also tried once, but
Mm-hmm.
failed. Next, and this is the first time operation. Next,
Mm-hmm.
the wire go to the subintimal space. Next, this is the final andrew. And the last time we did is 3D reconstruction of the CTA, we can see
Mm-hmm.
two
Two segments.
segment
Yes. Occlusion.
occlusion
Mm-hmm.
and distal cap, just as the distal bifurcation.
Yes.
Next, and this is the proximal cap.
Mm-hmm.
Next, okay, next. We already see this. So according to the GST2 score should be 3.
Mm-hmm.
Next. But according to the CT recorder should be 4 because
Yes.
it is a multi segment
Uh-huh.
occlusion
Mm-hmm.
case. Multi-occlusion segment means more proximal cap, more distal cap,
Yes.
and more difficult to
Mm-hmm.
cross.
Mm-hmm.
Next. And it has been demonstrated that compared with common JC2 score,
Mm-hmm.
CT recorder is more effective to predict the antegrade wire crossing.
Yes. Preset procedure
And
time. Mm-hmm.
this is the last time PCI. We can see this is the RC angel. Next. Okay. Next. Firstly, we use Ivus to find the ostim of the RC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Next. Okay, here we can see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next. Sometimes if there is ipsilateral from the
Mm-hmm.
lateral channel,
Mm-hmm.
we also could use, but the
Mm-hmm.
channel very tortuous,
Yes.
not suitable for retrograde
Mm-hmm.
approach PCI. Next. So we decide to try retrograde approach.
Mm-hmm.
Next. But the wire was very difficult to cross. But even the KRL microcatheter couldn't cross.
Yes.
Next.
Mm-hmm.
So we decide to try
From anti-grade.
Ivus-Guided
Mm-hmm.
antegrade wiring.
Mm-hmm.
Next. Because RCA is very tortuous, so
Mm-hmm.
we use knuckle technique
Yes.
because the knuckle wire
Mm-hmm.
go very tortuous
Mm-hmm.
route.
Because there
So
is
because the
some.
RCA very tortuous, we can see,
Yes.
okay, so this is a relatively effective way to cross the tortuous
Long segment.
long
Yes.
segment. So this time I think we must, for this kind of case, we must start retrograde approach.
Mm-hmm.
We must, last time the question is the where cross, but the microcatheter
Mm-hmm.
couldn't cross,
Mm-hmm.
couldn't cross the septal channel. So certainly we have several methods to try to solve that problem. Let's see what we have done.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly we did Andrew,
Mm-hmm.
and very tortuous atrial septal channel couldn't be used for retrograde approach. And we can see the septal channel also is patent.
Yes.
So this time we directly uh, choose the septal channel
Mm-hmm.
and use special wire,
Mm-hmm.
CN wire, and
Firmware.
a new thermal
Mm-hmm.
microcatheter. But after the firmware come
Mm-hmm.
to the distal PDA,
Mm-hmm.
we can see still the microcatheter couldn't
High track.
cross.
Yes.
Okay, the high
Mm-hmm.
track.
Mm-hmm.
So how to do next? Sometimes we could try another method that
Mm-hmm.
as we know, the monorail balloon
Mhm.
Small profile balloon, the
Mhm.
crossability should be better than
Mhm.
microcatheter. And we use 1 pound zero balloon,
Okay.
try to cross. Certainly
Yes.
we could dilate a little bit, but
Mhm.
I think for that small old lady, I dislike to inflation, make increase risk of perforation.
Mhm.
But the 1 pound balloon and very gentle and very with patient.
Mhm.
Uh, and finally, the 1 pound balloon could cross a
Cross
little
the,
bit.
yes, the total septal.
Okay, and then finally, I exchanged the carousel
Mhm.
again. And last time the carousel didn't cross, so you can see this time. Uh,
Still some resistance
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yes.
still some resistance.
Mhm.
We must be patient.
Mhm.
Okay, finally,
Yes.
it crossed. Okay, okay. And then we did distal superselective angiogram. We can see really the distal cap is just as the distal bifurcation. And a hydrophilic wire often slip to the postlateral branch. This is often made because of I just to test really there is no small hole in the microchannel
Mhm.
from the distal bifurcation to
Mhm.
the distal RCA.
Mhm.
And finally, we use Gaia first.
Okay.
I dislike to use very aggressive
Mhm.
wear.
For retrograde.
Okay, and the wear go inside the architecture
Mhm.
and advance retrograde microcatheter. Okay, and because we already know very totals of
Mhm.
dystocia, so I start knuckle again, this
Mhm.
time retrogradely. So no matter antegrade knuckle or retrograde knuckle, we must combine with ADR or RDR
Yes.
technique.
Mhm. Okay, let's see the Ivus run. And we can see that from the distal part of RCA, and we can see that for now that everything is in the true lumen. However, we know that the retrograde wear in the mid distal part of RCA will make some
Okay.
knuckle technique. So we can see that the distal mid distal part of RCA, there is relative segment within the subintimal space. However, the distal part is in the true lumen. And we pull back a little bit to see the proximal part of RCA. And now that we have finished the externalization with the RG3 wear, which makes the whole system very stable, and also we do not take the risk of losing the wear from the RCA. And now there is a wear from the anti-grid, a workhorse wear into the PLV branch. And now we are
Patient.
using the small balloon,
Uh,
2.0 balloon to make the,
oh,
plug modification. So this will increase, the patency, the risk,
okay.
avoid the risk of losing very important cell branches in the RCA
Oh,
to increase the prognosis of the patient.
interesting.
Actually, we do not worry too much about
Okay.
this relatively long segment of subintimal space in this RCA because
Interesting.
we can see that RCA is relatively unique
Oh,
compared to the arteries in the left coronary artery because there
interesting.
is not so much very important cell branches in the mid part and also the proximal part of RCA. So the whole idea is to maintain the bifurcations in the distal part and also the proximal ostium part of the RCA to make the promise of good prognosis of the patient.
I was.
So we can see that the Ivus is in the PLV branch, and this is the 100% in the true lumen. So we can see that this is very different from the last time attempt from the anti-grid wiring in the PLV branch. Last time we can see that the wire is in the subintimal space of the PLV branch, but this time, after the recanalization of the main vessel, we can see that the wire has been stayed into the true lumen. Okay, we can see that the another wire is drawn into the main vessel. I need to recheck the POC area to see the structure of the POC area to make some plan for the next strategies of the plan. So maybe we can. Do we need to scan the whole RCA or just this bifurcation
Okay, we
site?
can. I think we can stop here.
Okay. Okay, so we can see that we are going to perform in the kissing balloon technique in
Okay,
the
okay,
PDA
this
branch
one
and
is
one
the
in the
first.
PLV
No, no,
branch.
no, no. This one.
Both of these two balloons are 2.0, diameter balloons. So we
Ah,
are casing
ah,
at 8 atmosphere.
here.
This procedure can help maintaining
Slowly.
the right position of the carena,
6,
so reduce the risk of
7,
losing either of these two
and
branches.
8. Okay,
And
done.
judged from the previous Ivus run, we can see that the PLV branch
6,
is relatively small in diameter, at least currently, and we can see that
8.
the lumen diameter is 2.0 millimeter,
Okay, done.
and the PDA branch is relatively a
Okay,
little bit bigger.
inflation simultaneously. 2, 4, 6.
And also checking from the Ivus, we can see another, bifurcation, small bifurcation is joining into the main
Done.
vessel. So from the bilateral angiography, we can see another, the third, small branch is giving out from the POC area. However, I
Else
think that
again.
it's relatively small, and we can see after casing bloom whether
A
we
little
take the
bit
risk of losing
lateral,
it or
please.
not.
Certainly, I think we need geo-balloon technique.
Yes.
But for the first stand, from post-lateral branch to the distal RC or
Okay.
from the
Okay.
PDA,
Yes.
any suggestion? Your opinion is
Uh, Based on the current
okay.
IVUS image, I think that stand from the PRV branch should be better because the plaque burden
Okay.
at the ostium of the PRV branch is relatively high. If we perform the Jilin bloom in the PRV branch, we take high risk of losing it. And also, currently, it seems that the vessel diameter of the PDA branch is relatively smaller compared to PRV branch. So maybe, one stand provisional stanting from the PRV branch to the main
Okay.
vessel is a potential,
What's the
strategy.
size?
Currently, it's a 2 to 5.
Two
For
to
now,
five.
yes. So I think that this is a very good demonstration that this time we performed the retrograde approach, to perform the recanalization of RCA. And also we maintain at least two very big set branches of RCA. Because last time that we make casing wire, however, we found that the wire in the PLV branch might be in the subintimal space, which is not, favor for the prognosis of this patient.
Okay, I think
Mm-hmm.
we made a small mistake.
Uh-huh.
We
Okay.
should put back the CN wire, the RG3 wire first.
Okay.
We couldn't geo the RG3
Okay.
wire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. So if we use a stand inside the PD, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
if
Yes.
we
It's from racial grid.
too aggressively, sometimes may cause
The damage of
yeah,
the
the
tape.
damage
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and maybe could be not disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
cause a complication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at that time, I think I should withdraw the RG3.
RGC. Yes.
Okay, withdraw the RG3. Okay, must
And
be
also we can see that
gentle.
maintain the position of the microcaster, no matter
Yeah,
it's antigrid or retrograde, in
yeah.
the septal cholesterol is of key importance in protection these very fragile, tortuous cholesterol flows, because this kind of externalization wear could perform a cutting function or this kind of a phenomenon
Okay,
if without the
here
protection
I
of
think
microcaster.
should first withdraw the retrograde macrocatheter and
Mm-hmm.
do angio to check if there is
And yes.
injury of the septal channel. And at that time, I think I could withdraw the floating wear. Withdraw the floating wear. Okay, to make sure no thrombus inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everything
Okay.
is
Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay.
The pressure is good too.
Uh, 呼吸，
Hmm.
test a little bit.
Okay.
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 Are,
Hmm.
are you, so sometimes if it is injured, we could advance the retrograde microcatheter.
Hmm.
And you please. Oh, I think everything is okay.
Hmm.
So,
So maybe one more shot from the cranial angio.
Okay, are you called, please?
Okay,
But certainly
because
it doesn't matter. So
yes,
in most conditions, the septal channel injury is benign.
yes. Okay, I think it's
I
fine.
think
Yes.
everything is fine.
Yes.
Okay, so Ariel please.
And this time we can see that Professor Lee using a very small, I mean very smooth 1.0 balloon without any dilation to slide through these tortuous septal channels to help the microcatheter to pass through.
How about here?
I think it's fine. Maybe we make a test from the retrograde, angio to see the distal landing zone.
Okay.
Hmm By the
Test,
IVUS, it
test,
is
test a little
okay.
bit. Okay,
hmm
Andrew.
Let me
So
check the IVUS run to see how much is in the main vessel. From the IVUS, it's 10 millimeter in the main vessel. So I think that this might be, proper location.
okay,
10 millimeter in the main vessel.
okay. So 1.5 inflation, 8. So inflate 1.5 balloon first, then
Okay.
inflate the stent,
hmm
2,
So we can see performing Professor Lee
4,
is performing an
6,
maybe similar to SKB technique. So we are
8,
opening the drilled 1.5 millimeter balloon in the side branch
9,
first to avoid the carina shift from the main vessel from the
10.
stenting, and then we are deploying the stent from the PLV branch to the main vessel.
Deflation. Firstly, we review the last week case
hmm
and we introduce the technique I invented. I call it ankle knuckle technique,
hmm
a very useful technique for long instant occlusion.
hmm
Certainly, somebody suggests to use a cross boss,
hmm
but the cross boss, I think, need more strong backup
Yes.
support, and especially for the like in last week case, very tortuous instant
Yes.
occlusion, not suitable.
hmm
Yeah, so also very expensive.
Yes. And dangerous
Yeah,
relatively.
so I don't think for the ankle knuckle technique is a very good choice for the long
hmm
instant occlusion.
hmm
And tips and tricks is we suggest to use two oblong,
hmm
inflate about 8
hmm
atmosphere.
hmm
If we with very high pressure may
hmm
us relatively difficult to advance the wear, the knuckle wear.
hmm
But what we should do first to first use stiff wear to make the wear into the right direction,
Entry point.
into
Yes.
the stand,
hmm
into the inside the stand,
hmm
the occlusion segment. And for this case, last time we did spam.
hmm
So spam technique is a bailout strategy.
Yes.
So the success rate, that means 1 to 3 months during annual follow-up, the canalized rate should be about 50. But
Yes.
we're unlucky for this case, occluded again.
Yes.
But for this kind of case, retrograde approach is of great importance.
hmm
Even the vessel is recanalized,
hmm
if we treat again,
hmm
sometimes we still need retrograde approach
Yes.
because the wear may be still going into the subintimal space.
hmm
And for that case, we show the audience how to solve the problem where cross the septal channel, but microcatheter couldn't cross.
hmm
And finally, with success.
Yes.
Okay,
This is a
let's go
good
on.
demonstration.